Aaron Rodgers, would you consider that to be a suable offense?
No, because it's not 2018. Like you're not. They could sign Aaron Rodgers. Nothing wrong with that. But it's not like their season will rise or fall depending on this signing. At this point in his career, Aaron Rodgers is not that guy, or else he wouldn't be on the free agent market right now. So, no, I don't think it's a suable offense. I know he's the guy that they would want to have in at this point, but I don't think the drop-off from him to whatever their next choice is so severe that it would be suable.
Hasselbeck, do you agree?
Yeah, it's a reasonable ruling by Graziano there. I think, look, the difference, like, what are we talking about? He threw 28 touchdowns and like 11 interceptions last year. Look, I don't know that Jameis Winston does that, but like, I don't think that it's some, far cry from a possibility. So look, I think the difference between Rodgers at this stage of his career and the next guy isn't that significant.
I have to, you know what? I have to, what's the word I can look, what would I say here? I'd be a very bad lawyer. Can I
object?
Object. I'm an objection. I want to see if this will be sustained. Like, I get it. Aaron Rodgers is not the player that he was when he was at his very best. He is, however, way, way better at this point, without meaning this is a disrespectful statement, than Jameis Winston. I mean, he played way better than that last year. Jameis Winston will throw 11 interceptions in the first month of the season. Aaron Rodgers, when he was healthy last year in the second half of the season, played well. Not great, not lighted up great. He played well. Yes, he did.
No, I mean, the numbers say otherwise. Like, you can give me 28 interceptions or 28 touchdowns, 11 interceptions, all you want. 34th in completion percentage over expectation in a 32-team league.
Right.
Like, I mean, that's terrible. Like, it was terrible.
I understand. What that means is that he's not.
Your standards are not. You're a Jets fan. Like, you see him play quarterback like he did, and you're like, that's great. But it's like, for the Jets, maybe.
I think that the Jets.
And then they cut him, by the way.
Year. Well, no, because they wanted a fresh start.
Just saying. He's that great.
I think getting rid of him for the reasons they did makes a lot of sense. I think the Steelers bringing him in for the reasons they would need to makes an equal amount of sense. The Steelers are in a place where they need what he is now. The Jets are not in that place.
Maybe. Look, Aaron Rodgers at one point in his career was a guy that you would not cut for the reasons the Jets did because he was so good. And he's not that guy anymore. I really don't think he's very far above replacement level, if at all, at this point at 41.
Okay, so we're going to have to agree to disagree on this one. What do you do in court when you agree to disagree? We have a hung jury?
That's it. Yeah, I guess so.
The jury is hung. We don't know what they think. Let's go on to the next one here.
Are we the lawyers or are we the jury? I don't understand.
I don't know now.
Yeah, right.
We can be whatever we want to be. It doesn't make any difference. It's a shtick. Here we go. Tim. Is it a suable offense if the Bengals miss the playoffs again this season?
I think it would be like misappropriation of funds, maybe, Greeny. Could we use that argument? Look, here's why I say that. If you just look at the Philadelphia Eagles, who have two number one wide receivers, they're paying like $13 million less per year than the Cincinnati Bengals are. Because the Bengals waited as long as they've waited, for these guys, rather than being ahead of it, they're paying at the very, very top of the market. And so when you look at it and then you throw the quarterback in there, you got like $125 million per year on just 3 players. So, you better be so good on offense that you cover up for a lot of issues that you have elsewhere because of how you're spending the money.
Grouse?
So good on offense that you cover up for a lot of issues elsewhere describes the 2024 Cincinnati Bengals.
Right.
And they were in the playoff race until the very last day. So, yes, I think it's a suable offense if the Bengals, with Joe Burrow and Jamar Chase and T. Higgins, do not make the playoffs. The last 2 years, they've had down years. They were 9-8. If they have a mediocre defense, like 20th in the league defense, they should make the playoffs easily with that offense.
I completely agree. Actually, Cindy, come out here because they gave me another prop for this year, and I want to make a point.
You're the judge.
This is a point of parliamentary procedure. I would say that in this particular instance, I would hold the Bengals defense in contempt.
Yeah.
I will hold them in contempt of court. It would be not only a suable offense, almost a criminal, I think, matter.
Maybe robbery at the highest level?
If that offense, it would be robbery of the highest level. Boy, we were really taking this shtick a long way, aren't we? Let's do one more here. Graziano. Cowboys Would it be a suable offense if the Cowboys do not extend the contract of Micah Parsons this offseason?
Yeah, it would. I mean, I think they'll do it. I'm not concerned about this, but yeah, I think this is a franchise-altering player, a building block player who does things on a level that others don't do, and I think you pay at the top of the market for this guy, and I think the Cowboys know that, and I believe they'll do it.
Wait a minute, I'm calling for order in the court because we have a surprise witness. Just like in Perry Mason when I was a kid. Mel Kiper is racing into the courtroom right now with late-breaking information. Mel, is it a suable offense if the Cowboys don't extend Micah Parsons?
Yes, he means as much to this defense as Myles Garrett means to the Cleveland Browns. So definitely I would say yes.
Tim Hasselbeck, I feel like you and I, Myles Garrett and Micah Parsons, I think have combined in their their entire careers for one playoff win, if I have that right? They beat Tampa that one year that the Cowboys did, and this is not a knock on them. Myles Garrett is an unbelievable player. Micah Parsons is an unbelievable player, but if there's one thing that I think has been determined, Tim, is that having the best pass rusher in the league on your team is not the way you win championships, or not often. Yeah. The Cowboys have so many other places they need to look. I would seriously consider making a trade there for a king's ransom.
Yeah, I think that's fair, Greeny. I think really, as the judge, I think it comes down to whether you're factoring in that Jerry Jones and the Cowboys are repeat offenders. You know, I mean, the reality is like this is what they do with their star players. And so if you're factoring that in, then maybe you look at it through a different lens. But yeah, look, I think they're so far away from the other teams in their division that I think it's a very reasonable argument to say, look, why don't we do this? Why don't we move him and start the rebuild? Because we're really far from Jaden Daniels and the Commanders. We're really far from what Philadelphia is doing with Jalen Hurts. And so a reset and a rebuild makes sense as well.
I don't think they perceive themselves that way. They won 7 games in a year where they lost their quarterback halfway through, and they won 12 each of the 3 years before that. So I think they feel like they can bounce back pretty quick. Whether they're right or not, I don't know. But they do delay. They do take their time with these extensions. It does cost them more, but they do tend to get them done. And my understanding is they intend to extend Micah Parsons.
Nope. Overruled. And I don't even know what I'm overruling, but I just wanted to say that.
Wanted to hit that
just once in my life.
Yeah.
As we continue, Mel is going to go to work here. His new men's basketball team did not make the NCAA tournament this season. That led their governor, West Virginia's governor, Patrick Morrisey, to say interesting things. Here they were.
West Virginia deserved to be in the NCAA tournament. This was a miscarriage of justice and robbery at the highest levels.
Okay, so this got us to thinking. You know, I'm not a lawyer, obviously. My father was.
Is that guy?
That guy is a governor.
He might be a lawyer.
But my grandma wanted me to be a lawyer.
Right.
So for today, I'm going to play the role of lawyer. And we're going to determine whether certain things are or are not suable offenses. The governor said he thought it was too early for litigation in the case of West Virginia. I'm merely reading to you from the story what it is that he said.
Robbery at the highest level.
Highest level, so it is too early for litigation in the case of West Virginia's snub from the NCAA tournament. However, there are many other things that could happen, particularly in the sport that you guys cover closely, Graziano and Hasselbeck, that might be considered suable offenses. So let's start with this.